China's position on the coup is evolving because at first I think they were stunned and probably relatively unhappy about it. They had a pretty good situation in the country under Aung San Suu Kyi's government. They must know that the people of Myanmar do not like them and do not trust them. Maybe not all Chinese people, but certainly the investors, the government, and the official policy is one where they clearly do not care about Myanmar's sovereignty. They don't care about Myanmar reform. They don't care about environmental or social standards. They know that China sees them as a kind of quasi satellite neo-colonial state. But what they had then was a reasonable relationship with Aung San Suu Kyi. So with Aung San Suu Kyi there, who is credible, they can kind of have a buffer between the people and them. And with the Rohingya crisis and the alienation of the West towards Aung San Suu Kyi, that was great. Then for the Chinese, they were able then to have a clear pathway for their interest in the country. With the coup, there's a very bad relationship with the military traditionally. The Chinese have fought the Myanmar military for decades. And so that is an issue of real concern to the Chinese. But as they see the reality on the ground, they are accommodating to it. I think China has its own interests here. I think they're strongly economic. They're also strategic. They feel this is their buffer state. They should have a privileged position. And this is their access to the Indian Ocean. This is their way to strategically get oil and gas into the western part of their country through Myanmar. This is also a place where the majority of jade and a lot of their resources that they need for their industrial development, a lot of the rare earth metals that are hugely strategic globally that we need and that we talk about China having, in fact, are on their border with Myanmar. So their economic interests are paramount when it comes to Myanmar. Their strategic interest to keep the West out and the U.S. not necessarily out entirely, but at least at a second tier, and that they have a privileged position is absolutely foremost. They care not at all about democracy, obviously, or human rights, or about who's in charge of the country. They just want whoever's in charge of the country to stay in charge of the country, and that they have a stable relationship that they can do business with.